For a guy who lives his life in the spotlight, why do something like this? Why give them unfettered access to all of Steph Curry?
It's a great question. I mean, at first I was a little hesitant. Me and my wife talked about it a lot in terms of we didn't want cameras around. We obviously protect privacy and all that type of stuff. But when we thought about it, a lot of what we do, what we stand for, is inspiring people, sharing a little bit of ourselves in terms of how we support each other in our family, how everything that we do, how passionate we are about it, and how much joy we bring to it. It was a great way for me to just control my own story in terms of this is an amazing moment in my life. We've accomplished a lot of great things, and I hope to continue on that mission. So the story is still being written, but kind of open up the veil a little bit in terms of what makes me who I am, what makes me tick, what motivates me, and how important those things are to the entire story. It was a great opportunity to share that story.
For you personally, was it cathartic? Was it therapeutic at all?
I would say I learned a lot about myself, and
just
about how appreciative I am of the entire formula that makes this all go. Like, there's so much chaos, and I feel like the last 10 years has been a blur. But when you sit back and watch, an episode of the whole story of what even just this particular year has been like, there's so much that goes into it. The love and support of my wife, how much my kids mean to me, my family and the foundation that they set, when I had a pacifier in my mouth to now, just thinking about all those things. It's nice to go down memory lane a little bit and then contextualize that into, how it's, blossomed into what, is going on now. I don't know if I would truly have the opportunity to appreciate it in the moment. And so as this chaos is going to continue, I think this is definitely a blessing to be able to, one, again, share, some stuff that nobody's seen before, but also for me, appreciate all the things that are going on around me.
One of the things that struck me most was just the sheer amount of home video that the Curry family has. It's like your parents were rolling from the time you came out.
That was a labor of love for them to pull out back then. It's not digital and the stuff that they got. So for them to some of the stuff I hadn't seen before. Yeah. My dad's outfit in the golf scene, the shorts up to here with the bucket hat and like the flower shirt, and growing up in Charlotte and the early days, it was pretty eye-opening for sure.
In addition to folks being able to see Steph the champion, we see Steph the father and the son and the husband. Why was it so important for you to show that part of you?
Because it makes me who I am. I mean, I feel like I have a purpose that I'm walking in terms of what I get to do on the floor, but none of it makes sense and none of it works without my family and the other parts of me that are more important in terms of me as a man. And so being authentic and transparent about my relationship with Ayesha and us walking into parenthood together, raising 3 kids and trying to instill the same values and morals that we were taught as kids. And again, the entire village that it takes for us to be able to do what we get to do. I mean, my wife's busier than I am.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep up with her. So it's just special. And I think that part of it is everybody is dealing with something in their own way, shape, or form, whether it's the busyness of life or stresses at work or trying to find personal time and all that type of stuff. Like, thriving in chaos is something that we try to do the best, and we wanted to kind of share that.
That's what you want people to take away from this.
Just there's a balance to everything for sure.
Your mother said, she said that you were made for this journey. Those were her words. What does she mean by that?
I think if we always ask the question, like, what in the world is going on right now? Like, in terms of, I grew up watching my dad play for 16 years in the NBA, and it was always a dream of mine to follow in his footsteps. My brother as well, and I don't think we could have imagined, what I've been able to accomplish and the experiences that we've had together, been able to share together. And I think when she makes that comment, it's the journey has been what it is to prepare me for, you know, this level that not even my dad, you know, got to experience in terms of, you know, the reach around the world. People, you know, wanting to know our every move and winning championships and standing for something really important and really impactful and being able to inspire the amount of people that we get to. So I always try to keep that in the forefront of my mind in terms of when I'm out on the floor, you know, I'm meant to be here for a reason, and that is to obviously be myself, but to inspire people and have an impact. And I think that's something that will carry me as I go through the rest of my career.
Do you believe you were destined for this?
For sure. And my faith is obviously a big part of who I am, and you know, God doesn't make any mistakes. And so for me to be able to handle all the things that have been thrown my way, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I'm not perfect by any stretch of imagination. But that is the way that I contextualize, you know, what is going on and how I can best nurture the blessings that I've been given.
Your mother said something to you when you were 13. What was it? What stayed with you?
I don't know specifically. What was the comment?
It was in the essay, in the Undefeated. She talked about it being your story.
Being yourself. I think she has always been the encourager in our family and the one that has given me the most understanding of who I am as a person and an individual. And she is so, like, just fierce and bold and to the point and direct that I told her I get my grit and my competitiveness and my fire from her. And so a lot of this story is kind of centered around me walking in my dad's footsteps in terms of what I get to do on the court, but she's the hero in terms of instilling those principles in myself, my brother, and my sister, for sure.
You were scrawny, scrappy, but scrawny, and you didn't have a lot of blue chip colleges looking at you. You get to the NBA, even you're drafted number 7, but a lot of folks are like, he's overrated. He's overrated. How much does that still fuel you? How much of a chip do you still play with?
I always do, because I've heard that so many times over and over again throughout my journey. It's different now. I can't. The true definition of an underdog, I don't think I can claim that in terms of
not after 2 championships or 3 championships and 2 MVPs.
But that's part of my DNA and like how I think I've embraced the fact that for me, I'm almost a perfectionist in terms of I feel like I can continue to get better. So that chip is like in driving my work ethic in terms of like I've had a lot of crazy accolades and championships and all that type of stuff, but if I really looked myself in the mirror and said, are you like the best player you think you can be? And I would in a heartbeat say no. And what's going to drive me to get to that point is that chip that people said I wasn't supposed to be on this level. And I'll carry that. I'll carry that forever. I'll carry that in terms of my drive, but I also there's no like I always have a smile. I try to always have a smile on my face when I'm on the court and really enjoy what I get to do, because I get to play basketball in the NBA, like at this level, and play for championships and do it with amazing teammates. Like I can't forget that. It's just a crazy kind of journey. So whatever it took to get me there, I got to continue to feed into that.
Let's talk about this new enterprise, this production company. First of all, just the name, Unanimous Production. What's the story behind the name?
It's obviously a little call out to the second MVP in terms of the unanimous situation, but it's also kind of how I go about my business in terms of collaboration and making sure that the team that I have around me, we always make decisions unanimously in terms of what we want to get behind, so that I hear everybody's kind of point of view, just like I do in terms of what I do on the court with my team. I try to bring that same philosophy off the court, and so I thought it would go well for our process in terms of how we wanted to enter the media space and create content that was going to be inspiring, impactful, and kind of carry the same values that I have.
You're a Carolina guy. The other Carolina, I'm from South Carolina, and I was there shortly after the church shooting in Charleston, and it stayed with me, and it's clearly something that moved you as well. Why was Emmanuel a story that you felt so passionate about being told?
Obviously, in terms of how tragic the event was, and then the climate that we're in right now socially in terms of gun violence and things like that, that's an ongoing conversation that needs to continue in terms of making tangible change to protect our future as a society. But when I heard about the specifics of the story and how the families of the victims of the Emmanuel Church chose forgiveness over hate and anger, that was something that everybody needs to hear. If they can find a positive in a situation like that and choose love over hate, like that story in itself carries so much weight. And obviously I'm humbled to be a part of telling that story and sharing that with the world, but it's more so highlighting how powerful those families were in choosing to forgive the person that decided to take their family members away from them. I don't know if I would had the strength to do the exact same thing in that situation, but I wanted people to hear their point of view on why they decided to do that.
Breakthrough. How did that come to be?
A breakthrough was a special one for me because it was actually one of the first scripts I ever read, and I read it one sitting all the way through, and it was one of those that just caught my attention from the first page on. And telling the miraculous, or the story of the miraculous healing of a 14-year-old and his mother praying over him in the hospital room when doctors, nurses said there was nothing else they could do for her son, and that prayer breathed life back into John, and he through that miraculous healing, able to tell the story of how that impacted his entire community, from his mother and father to the youth pastor in his community to the firefighter that was the one that pulled him out the water. Everybody had an experience in faith in some way, shape, or form, and we dive into that story pretty deep. So it's going to be cool. April 17th coming out.
You're not just writing checks and slapping your names on these things. I mean, you seem to be really passionate about these projects. And they also all seem to involve faith or manifestation of that. Mm-hmm. Why?
That's the foundation of who I am. I'm not running around, hitting people over the head with the Bible, but for me, like, I know, what my purpose is and who I play basketball for and who I live life for. But I encourage people to find, something bigger than themselves that they can tap into to find that purpose and perspective in life. And I think it'll just make the world a better place in the sense, and finding all sorts of avenues to let that shine, whether it's on the court and how I handle myself, sharing the stories and the backgrounds of my family through this docu-series with Facebook, or anything that we're doing in the media space. All those things have to stay true to who I am and be as authentic as possible.
You mentioned Ayesha earlier in the conversation. I'm going to go back to that because she's become quite successful in her own right. How do you guys balance it? How are you doing that?
We're still learning. Like, it's crazy. I was thinking about like what we used to do in our free time even like 5-6 years ago, and we can't even answer the question.
No.
Obviously with 3 kids now and her career blossoming, and just, again, I always joke, I really think she is busier than me in terms of she's balancing her schedule. Mine's pretty predictable. I know 82 games I got to be here and there, but she's trying to make waves and continue to inspire and share how important family is to her, and how she can bring, through her recipes and her cookware and her a new show that's coming out on ABC, like, those can all bring the family together. And really it's how we go about our daily life, and we try to, she's trying to bring that out, everything that she does. It definitely takes a village, and so a part of what you'll see in the Steph versus the game is how many people help us along the way, and celebrating those people too.
She said that the thing that probably makes you the best dad is you're just like the kids. You're just
Facts.
You're just like the kid yourself. What'd she mean by that?
I'm goofy, corny, just silly at all times. Like, I don't know if it's the baby face situation, but I just enjoy like the fun stuff in life, and I try to find the fun in everything. So I'm at home hanging out with the kids, or we're out together on a date or something, or just wherever I'm at, I just try to have fun. And so I think that's what she means, cracking all type of dad jokes too.
When does Riley get a show?
That's a great question. This is like a little tester for her to see how she handles it. to see. She, I think in episode 3, she's a star of it for sure.
I can believe it.
We'll see.
The director said that one of the things that struck him most about you was your ability to be present. And I noticed that immediately as well. Steph Curry always seems to be wherever Steph Curry is. You juggle a lot. How do you do that?
I don't know, man. I feel like, whatever I'm doing deserves my attention and my focus. Because I have a choice to, where I spend my time and what, I put on the schedule. But for me, like, if I'm talking to somebody, I know from fans' perspective, like that interaction means something to them. It could, that 10 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever it is, could impact them in a positive way, down the road. And I feel responsible for that in a sense. The rest of it is just me just enjoying life. Like, I don't ever want to kind of be like the zombie just kind of going through the motions. That's something I try to battle every day. As much as going on and how draining it might be, I think that's kind of what my mom was hitting at. That I was made for what I walked into.
What's the end game? Like, where's Steph Curry 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
5 years still playing for the Warriors and still hopefully winning championships.
At 35?
I'm with it. Maybe we can extend the prime years, a little longer. After that, I don't know. If you asked me that 5 to 10 years ago, I probably would have answered it wrong. So I'm just gonna stick to. That's the thing when everybody asks me about like legacy and all that type of stuff. Like I don't know. I don't want to ruin the moment.
But you think about it. I would imagine you're at a point in your career now, few championship rings, few MVPs. When you start to think,
when you see yourself on certain lists, and like I think Doris Burke said it in one of the clips, like I'm among the 2% of NBA players to have won 3 championships. Like those type of comments and like the awareness of how special some of the accolades that we've been able to accomplish, that does make you think for sure. But that's the battle, right? Going for more, like if I consume myself with like what we've done, then I think I'm cheating the game and cheating myself. Sounds cliche, but it's really like the only way that I can process going after more. If I let myself think about what's happened, then I kind of hit the brakes a little bit.
I know you want to answer the best ever question, so I won't even ask that. But if you got to pick 5, NBA players, last 20 years. Let's not go back to Bill Russell. But in the last 20, who's on your top 5? Who's on
in terms of what? Just like am I making like the best team?
Yeah, best team.
So that's a different question than like the 5 best players, because my GM hat gets on if I'm thinking about the best team and how they all.
Give me your 5 best players, because this is the Today Show. This isn't ESPN.
I like it. All right. The last 20 years. Mm-hmm. So that's what 1998. Oh, this is a tough one. So is just Jordan counting this?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I just want to know what eras we're working.
Oh yeah. Here. So you got Jordan.
I got Jordan. If it's last 20 years, I got Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. No Steph Curry.
Last 20 years.
No Steph Curry.
Still writing a story, big fella. This is a to be determined on that.
You don't consider yourself currently, though, one of the greatest?
I got more work to do. I honestly, like, if other people want to talk about it like that, I feel like the way that I got here is keeping my head down and just grinding. So I'm not gonna switch that up. My confidence is already there. If you put me in that room with those dudes, I'm gonna hold my own. Trust me. But I'm good where I'm at. I know who I am.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about this basketball camp. I find it fascinating. You decided that you would start a basketball camp for guys and women like you. How so?
The underrated tour is something that has been a dream of mine for some time now, in terms of identifying and locating, the next me in terms of where I came from, the overlooked, the underrated, the 3-star, not ranked high school player that is just fighting for an opportunity, trying to get in front of a coach, trying to better their skill set and just get an opportunity and run with it, kind of like I did. So I've been blessed to partner with Rakuten, who's sponsored the tour as well with Under Armour, and we had 8 stops this first year, and had an amazing experience, bringing these kids into a gym, showing them the drills that I work on every single day, giving them an awareness and motivation to keep grinding, control what you can control with your work ethic, what you put into the game, but give them hopefully some tools to make that jump. Because I was thinking, I have an Under Armour Elite camp that I do every summer, and about the 3rd year I did it, I had a moment. I was like, man, when I was in high school, I wouldn't have even been invited to my own camp, and I wanted to kind of take it back to where I started from, and it's been a great ride so far.
You don't seem to have forgotten that 13-year-old
No.
Steph Curry. How surprised would he be with this Steph Curry?
First thing, he'd be surprised by how cut and muscular I am.
You couldn't even say it with a straight face.
Then after that, yeah, he'd be. I don't think he'd be surprised, but he'd understand like the work that I was planning on putting into my craft and the confidence that I had in myself. No matter what people said, that it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it'd still be a little surprising.
I'll say it. Stephen Curry is going to go down as the greatest of all time.
There we go. See?
But does the question itself make you uncomfortable?
Yeah, it does.
Why?
Because I feel like I'm not as good as I'm supposed to be yet. I feel like I'm going to get better.
You know, they asked Kobe that question a few weeks ago.
He's done playing, though. What are you supposed to say? When I'm retired, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm definitely the best of all time.
Oh, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
While you're playing the game, you can't.
I still got more to do.
Is there one player, though, that you grew up watching, your dad notwithstanding, but you grew up watching and you wanted to be like him?
Yeah, there's 2 guys. Steve Nash and Reggie Miller were my 2 favorite players growing up in separate times. But when I first got to middle school, thinking about what type of player I was, I wanted to combine, those 2 guys. I think I did all right with that one.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.